The night air on the set was thick with mist, lantern light flickering against ancient stone. Two figures stood opposite each other in flowing robes, swords lowered, eyes speaking what words could not. In that moment, no one watching could have predicted how far those two young actors would go, or how deeply that single story would reshape their lives. That was the Untamed, and that was the beginning. When Wang Yibo Xiao Zhan stepped into the world of cultivation, brotherhood, and buried truths, they weren't just portraying characters. They were unknowingly stepping onto a path that would carry them far beyond the expectations of domestic fame, far beyond the boundaries of one drama, one fandom, one moment in time. The story did not explode overnight. It simmered. At first, it was whispers online, a growing curiosity, clips shared late at night, viewers pausing scenes just to feel the tension again, to replay a look, a silence, a promise unspoken. Then suddenly, the whispers became a roar. Two names were everywhere. Wang Yibo, with his quiet intensity, sharp edges softened by restraint. Xiao Zhan, with warmth that concealed steel, gentleness layered over resolve. They were opposites on screen and perfectly balanced. What made the Untamed unforgettable wasn't just fantasy or spectacle. It was sincerity, the kind that can't be faked. Their performances carried emotional weight that felt lived in, earned, almost personal. Every shared scene felt charged, as if the camera had accidentally captured something real. Audiences felt it instantly, and the world started watching. After the final episode aired, something unusual happened. Most dramas fade into memory, replaced by the next big thing. The Untamed refused to disappear. International viewers discovered it through subtitles, late-night recommendations, and quiet obsession. Fan art-flooded platforms. Music crossed borders. The story found new life in languages its creators never imagined. And at the center of it all stood Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, now inseparable in the public imagination, whether they wanted it or not. But fame, when it arrives that fast, is never simple. Wang Yibo's rise took a path as disciplined as he is. He didn't chase noise. He moved with precision. One moment he was on a motorcycle track, leaning into speed with fearless control. The next, he was on a dance stage, body cutting through music like it had been waiting there all along. Acting became another extension of his focus. Less about display, more about presence. He chose roles that demanded silence, stillness, internal fire. Global brands noticed. Fashion houses aligned themselves with his image of cool restraint. International magazines put him on covers not because he tried to dominate the frame, but because he didn't need to. His appeal traveled easily, no translation required. Wang Yibo became a symbol of modern stardom, minimal, disciplined, magnetic. Xiao Zhan's path unfolded differently, but no less powerfully. Where Wang Yibo's strength felt controlled, Xiao Zhan's felt expansive. He embraced emotion without apology. His smile disarmed, his vulnerability connected, and his voice, both in acting and music, carried sincerity that reached straight through screens. But his rise was not without storms. At the height of his fame, scrutiny intensified. Conversations grew louder, harsher, more invasive. The same attention that lifted him threatened to crush him. For a moment, the world watched to see if he would disappear quietly. He didn't. Instead, Xiao Zhan stepped back into the spotlight with a calm that surprised everyone. No grand speeches, no dramatic retaliation, just steady work, careful choices, and a refusal to let noise rewrite his identity. When he returned fully, something had changed. His performances carried deeper gravity. His public presence felt grounded, unshakable. Global audiences didn't just admire him, they respected him. International stages opened. Brand partnerships crossed borders. His name appeared in places far beyond where it first trended. He wasn't just surviving fame. He was mastering it. Meanwhile, the legacy of the Untamed continued to echo. New viewers discovered it every year. Reaction videos multiplied. Essays dissected its themes. Fans spoke of it as a turning point, not just for Chinese dramas, but for how stories could travel emotionally across cultures. And every time those two characters faced each other on screen again, viewers felt it. Not nostalgia, recognition. Today, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan stand as global figures, but they no longer stand in anyone's shadow, not even each other's. Their careers are diverged into distinct constellations, each bright in its own way. Wang Yibo represents precision, risk, and evolution. From racing circuits to art films, from street dance to luxury campaigns, he defies categorization. The world watches him not to predict what he'll do next, but to be surprised by it. Xiao Zhan represents resilience, sincerity, and emotional intelligence. His connection with audiences feels personal, almost protective. When he steps onto international stages, he carries not just fame, but trust. And yet, despite the distance their paths have taken, there remains an invisible thread connecting them. Not romance, not rivalry. History. They shared a moment in time that cannot be recreated. A story that shaped both of them before the world had decided what they should become. That shared origin gives their stardom a rare authenticity, one rooted not in marketing, but in memory. From the Untamed to global stardom, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan didn't just rise. They endured, they adapted, they transformed, and perhaps that's why their stories continue to resonate so deeply. Because behind the fame, the fashion, the numbers, and the noise, there are still two artists who once stood under lantern light, pretending to be something else, only to discover who they really were. And the world has been watching ever since. The surprise did not come wrapped in trophies or announced by flashing headlines. It arrived quietly, almost reverently, like a delayed echo of something planted long ago, years after the Untamed had finished airing. When both Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan were already standing on global stages of their own, something unexpected happened. A wave, not of nostalgia, but of recognition, rose from places no one had predicted. It began overseas. Late-night watch parties, university screenings, film clubs dissecting character arcs with academic seriousness, fans who had never followed idol culture discovering the series not as a trend, but as a story. Streaming platforms reported an unusual spike in rewatch numbers, not driven by promotion, but by word of mouth. And with that resurgence came the gift. Not fame, they already had that. Not money, they had earned it. The gift was legacy. For Wang Yibo, it arrived during a quiet moment backstage at an international event. He had just finished a solo appearance. No noise, no spectacle, just controlled brilliance. As he changed out of his tailored suit, an assistant handed him a folder. Inside were letters. Handwritten translations from fans across different countries. Some were artists, some filmmakers, some dancers. Many weren't even fans of him originally. They spoke about the Untamed as the first Chinese drama that made them rethink storytelling. They spoke about portrayal not as idle acting, but as restraint, as discipline, as emotional economy. One line stayed with him. Your silence taught me that strength doesn't need to announce itself. Wang Yibo folded the letter carefully. He didn't smile. He didn't react outwardly. But something settled inside him. Something steady and grounding. For someone who had always been moving forward at full speed, this was a pause that mattered. The gift was perspective. For Xiao Zhan, the surprise arrived differently. It came during a rehearsal for a completely unrelated project. The set was bright, modern, far removed from cultivation robes and ancient rules. During a break, a younger actor approached him, nervous, respectful. I just want to say, the actor said, voice trembling slightly, I almost quit acting, but watching The Untamed and watching how you came back after everything, it made me believe there was a way to survive this industry without losing yourself. Xiao Zhan didn't answer immediately. He remembered the silence, the waiting, the weight of being watched for the wrong reasons. He remembered how easy it would have been to disappear. Instead, he placed a hand on the actor's shoulder and said softly, then stay. Just don't forget who you are. That was the moment he understood the gift. It was impact beyond visibility. The world often measures success in numbers, views, rankings, brand value. But this was different. This was influence that moved quietly, deeply, irreversibly. As international media began revisiting The Untamed, articles shifted tone. No longer framed as a phenomenon of its time, it was now discussed as a cultural bridge. Panels talked about its emotional storytelling. Critics reference Wang Yibo's restraint and Xiao Zhan's vulnerability as complementary forces that carried the narrative beyond language. Invitations followed, not for sequels, not for reunions, but for conversations. Film festivals invited them to speak separately about longevity, craft, surviving attention, using fame without being consumed by it. That was another surprise. They were no longer being asked to perform. They were being asked to reflect. And perhaps the most unexpected gift of all was this: the freedom to exist independently without erasing the past. Wang Yibo no longer felt the need to outrun expectations. His choices grew more experimental, more deliberate. Art films, risky projects, spaces where silence mattered more than applause. Xiao Zhan, grounded and composed, leaned into stories that demanded emotional honesty, roles that trusted the audience to sit with discomfort, music that felt less performative and more personal. They were no longer defined by the Untamed. But the Untamed was no longer just a memory either. It had transformed into something timeless. Late one evening, in two different cities, under two different skies, both men found themselves alone with their thoughts. Wang Yibo stood by a window overlooking a foreign skyline, lights unfamiliar but inviting. Xiao Zhan sat in a quiet room, script open but unread. Neither was thinking about fame. They were thinking about how strange it was that a story from the past could still give something new, not attention, meaning. The surprise gift was not a comeback, a reunion, or a moment engineered for fans. It was this: the realization that what they built together had outgrown them and continued to give long after expectations had faded. From the Untamed to global stardom, their journeys had diverged in form, but aligned in purpose. And somewhere between then and now, the world caught up to what they had known all along. Some stories don't end when the screen fades to black. They wait, and when the time is right, they return, not as echoes, but as gifts.